Hello and welcome to another Talk to Stu with me, Stu Magoo. And this is the first in a new series that I'm doing called Stu Magoo's FAQs. So yes, we've got frequently asked questions that I get asked quite a lot. So I thought I'd make a playlist of videos dealing with those questions specifically, so that if people come to to my channel, then they'll have a place that they can go if they're new to the channel and they haven't seen my videos before where I've answered these questions. And it's not that I mind answering these questions again, because it's always helpful to people to know that. As I've said before, on the first Tuesday of the month, I do a live Q&A. So if you've got questions and maybe you don't find the answer in the frequently asked questions or in any of my other videos, you can come along at 7 o'clock usually and ask away. That's how it works. But to start off with, we are going to look at the most common question that I am asked, which is, can I claim for PIP if I have this certain health condition? Okay, so this is by far and away my most common question. And there's a lot of reasons for that. When a person gets diagnosed with any kind of condition and they realise that it's having quite a significant impact on their day-to-day living, they might say to themselves, well, actually, I'm struggling here. Maybe I need a bit of extra help. Maybe I could do with getting some regular therapy. Maybe I need to buy extra equipment to help me out around the home. Maybe I need to get into the hospital for certain procedures more often, and I don't have access to transport, things like that. And so you are straight away dealing with increased costs. Not easy. And that's why personal independence payment or attendance allowance for the over pension age group, or if you're under 16, children's DLA, that's why those benefits are there. They're designed to give you that bit of extra financial support with the increased costs that you're facing from developing the health condition or disability that you have. The question itself is a bit of an odd one, and it goes around quite a lot in people's minds because the mainstream press tends to run reports every once in a while saying, these are the health conditions that you can get PIP for. And so, for example, in my local newspaper recently, it said a list of the sight loss conditions that will qualify you for getting PIP. And then it had a long list of things like retinitis pigmentosa, macular degeneration, things like that. Now, these kind of reports, and there's a lot of them, and they're constant. They come out every other week. They're in the Mirror, they're in the Sun, they're in the Daily Record, they're in the North Wales Argus, just any newspaper, whether it's mainstream national or mainstream local news, they will at some point run a story saying these health conditions could get you PIP. And it's misleading, to say the least. These conditions do have symptoms or associated effects that may qualify you for PIP, but the conditions themselves do not necessarily mean that you will automatically get PIP just because you've been diagnosed with that condition. That's not how it works. So the direct answer to the question is, it's not about what condition you have, it's about how that condition affects you. Okay, so PIP is assessed on how your health condition or disability affects your daily living activities, or how it affects your mobility activities, or both. Okay, that's what it looks at. It doesn't look at what specific health condition you have. Okay, The only exception to this rule is if you have been diagnosed with some sort of terminal condition that is likely to lead to the end of your life within the next 12 months. And then you could apply for PIP under what's known as special rules. Now, special rules, there's a box on the form that you tick to say, I'd like to apply under special rules, but what that requires is that you have a letter from your doctor or your consultant that says that in all likelihood, your condition will lead to the end of your life within the next 12 months. Okay, previously it used to be 6 months, but a year or two ago, they extended the special rules to be 12 months, which I think is a lot more fair. The difficulty with that is getting a doctor or a consultant to sign a piece of paper to say that that is the case. Many clinicians don't want to actually say definitively that a condition is likely to lead to the end of somebody's life within that sort of time frame. And there's multiple reasons why they don't want to do that, but generally they don't, unless they're absolutely certain about it. So if you have been diagnosed with a terminal condition and you think it might apply to you, then do speak to your doctor or clinician about it. But for the majority of us, thankfully, special rules don't apply, which means we have to go through the assessment process, which means that they look specifically at your health conditions and how they affect you. And the focus is more on how those conditions affect you. So how does it affect you getting in and out of bed in the morning, getting up, having a wash, getting dressed, making your food, speaking to other people, managing your finances, getting out and about, all of those kind of things. Okay, do you have continence issues? Do you have blackouts, fits or seizures, things like that? What they're looking at is not the condition, but the effect. And I think blackouts, fits and seizures is a really good example of this. Okay, so a person may be diagnosed with epilepsy. It may be that at the start of their diagnosis, they would frequently have seizures that would lead to them having a vacancy, where they lose consciousness and they may appear to be awake and they may appear to be breathing and so on and so forth, and their eyes are open, but they're just somewhere else, and you can't, get any response out of that person during that period. Now, obviously, if you're having blackout seizures like that, where you're vacant for a while, that can be quite dangerous. You can't be operating heavy machinery, such as a car, or working in a factory when you're doing that. Even if you were, say, working in a shop, you're serving somebody on a till. You might be doing that, quite happily and enjoying what you're doing, and all of a sudden, you're gone, and the person is stood there saying, well, what do I do? Maybe I need to call some help or something like that. So you can see that there would be quite a lot of activities in terms of work where that would be difficult. Equally, if you're in the middle of cooking a meal and you have a blackout, then that's got an element of risk to it. It might be that you drop something that you're carrying, like a hot pan full of boiling water and potatoes, which scalds you and goes all over the floor. Things like that. You just don't know. Equally, there's a safety aspect in terms of things catching on fire. There's safety aspects with that kind of condition if you're getting in and out of the bath or having a shower. So you can see that it's not the epilepsy itself that's the problem, but it's the blackouts. Okay, so the diagnosis of epilepsy, that's not getting you PIP, but the fact that you're having blackouts in all of these situations and it's preventing you from doing those daily living activities, that's what's having the effect. And that's what PIP is looking at. Now, let's say you present this health condition to the GP, and the GP refers you to a neurologist, and they do all the assessments, and they confirm that, yes, you have this very specific type of epilepsy that leads to these kind of blackouts and vacancies, but not to worry. Here's some medication that reduces the instances of that. Okay, and you're prescribed that medication. And after 3 months of taking it, you go from having these blackouts 4 or 5 times a day to once or twice every 6 months. You know, that's a huge change. And actually, that kind of change might take that person from being eligible for PIP to not being eligible for PIP anymore. And so that's the difference. It's how are these conditions affecting you, but also, is there any kind of medical treatment that's actually reducing or minimizing that? Now, that's just one condition. So that person with epilepsy in this example may have that medication and may well be controlled with that. But they may also have other conditions that come along with it. They might be suffering with depression. They might have extreme anxiety. So those would be things that would factor into it as well. It might also be that they have some physical mobility issues. It might be that they have a neurodevelopmental disorder, so they're called at the moment, that might lead to them requiring extra support. So it may well be that even though you've got one condition, you might have other conditions that are having an impact on your daily living activities as well. And that's what's important to remember. It might not just be one condition that makes you eligible for PIP, it might be all those other conditions as well. So you need to look at the whole picture of how your health conditions or disabilities are affecting you from morning till night and even after you've gone to sleep, what kind of help you might need from other people, what kind of adjustments you need to make for yourself, what kind of equipment that you need to use, that sort of thing. A specific condition does not guarantee that you're going to get PIP. It just doesn't. But certain effects of a condition you might have will make you more likely to be eligible to put in a claim for PIP. First of all, it doesn't mean that you're definitely going to get it, and it doesn't mean that you will have it forever. There are some indefinite awards with PIP, and 10-year awards are becoming more likely for certain types of conditions these days. If a person has demonstrated that they're not likely to improve and that their condition is going to stay the same or get worse, then you may be given a 10-year award or even a lifetime award. But the majority of people are put on 1, 2, and 3-year awards, particularly if it's their first claim or if the conditions are in any way treatable or there's some kind of recovery seen as happening. So it's quite complex. It's not a simple answer to that question. It is much more complex than the newspapers will make out. So don't be misled by that. And also don't be misled by what other people have been awarded or what somebody at the pub has told you or a friend has told you about so-and-so who got hardly anything wrong with them and they got awarded PIP. That's unlikely. Generally speaking, PIP is very difficult to get in the first place. You need a lot of medical evidence to be able to support your claim. You also need a lot of anecdotal evidence as well, and you need to pass an assessment. And for a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people, they have to go through the mandatory reconsideration and appeal process as well. So claiming PIP is no joke, really. It's a difficult system, and you should only really put yourself through that if you are absolutely certain that you are eligible. The thing that I always say to everybody is get professional help and professional advice where possible. So if you have a specific condition, then have a look. There's probably a charity out there or some sort of organisation that will be able to give you specific guidance, not just about your condition, but also about you and your condition and how your condition affects you, and as to whether or not you will be eligible. That's what's important. Equally, you could approach a more general agency like the Citizens Advice Bureau or a disability advocacy service in your local area, and they might be able to do an assessment of you and tell you whether or not you would be eligible to claim that. Now, as always, I do suggest to people that if they're not sure of where to find support, to use the Turn to Us Advice Finder. I'll post the link for it in the description below. If you click on that, pop in your postcode. Don't put your postcode into the comments section, just to be clear. Pop your postcode into the advice finder and it will show you services in your local area. And the important thing to note is, even if you look at that and you think, oh, well, there's nothing here that specifically applies to me or that's very near to me, it's worth giving literally any one of them a call and speaking to them, because quite often there will be an advisor that's there on the phone who will be able to answer your question and tell you if there's any agencies or organisations near to you that aren't listed on the advice finder that you might be able to find support from. It's what's called signposting, and we do that a lot in the third sector. Somebody phones up and they want some support, your service doesn't provide it, so you say, well, look, I'll signpost you to this other service who might be able to support you in that way. Okay, so if you're unsure, do keep trying everywhere. If you throw as much mud at the ball as you can, some will surely stick, and getting that professional help is definitely the best advice I can give anybody. I am aware that help is much more in demand and there's less of it these days, so it is difficult and not easy for everyone in every area. But if you look out for it, you will find it. So there we go. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully that's answered this question for quite a few people, it will be a long-winded way. And if it was useful to you, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all those YouTube things, do all that, and join me for more videos in the future. Thanks very much and enjoy your day. Take care. Bye.